Hey, welcome back to Almost Home Yoga. This video is specifically going to be for the poses that can halt and reverse osteopenia and osteoporosis. So it's going to be about 20 minutes. It's the series of poses developed by Dr.Loren Fishman, and I did my training with him in 2017. So you definitely want to have a block, a blanket, and a strap. And we are going to do a very brief warm-up just to check in with your spine and enliven your core, and then we will get to the poses. So find your way safely to the ground. Remember, the two things that you want to avoid if you already have osteoporosis are falling, so you need to know how to get up and down off the floor safely, and rounding your spine, particularly if you have any osteoporosis or thinning of the bones in the cervical spine, that kyphosis or dowager's hump. When we fold forward, we are hinging from the hips. We are not rounding, okay? So here is our brief spinal check-in. Now again, if you have anything going on with your upper spine, you can do this just with the pelvis. These bones are for the spine, the pelvis, and the femur, the leg bones. So on an inhale, just gently arch. Maybe you raise your gaze. On an exhale, hollow out, just from below the waist, unless it's safe to gently drop your head. We do that a couple more times. So moving with your breath, linking your breath to your movement, using your breath to steady yourself. We'll hold each of the poses for about 30 seconds and have a brief Shavasana, resting pose after that, so come on back to neutral. Think about drawing your upper arms toward one another, pulling your low belly toward your spine. You're going to take one leg out behind you, keep the toes pointing down, and then take the other thumb to the ceiling if you can. Just gaze down at the thumb that's on the ground. Spread your fingers wide, pushing into the mat. It's a great kind of full body, checked in, core strengthener. And release that, maybe wag your tail. And then after we do these poses, if you'd like to stick around, we're going to focus on the three things that can help us keep from falling. So take the other leg out, toes pointing down, and then do bird dog, thumb to the ceiling. We're going to work on balance, more strength, and flexibility. So it's a way to ask yourself really what's going on. So if you're afraid of falling, best thing you can do is keep up your balance, your strength, and your flexibility. Go ahead and put that down, wag your tail again. And we will get started. So I'm going to do both twists first, and then we're going to do the standing poses, and then at the end we'll do bridge pose and the leg stretch series. So first I'm going to start with the sage pose. Cross one leg over the other. So the leg that's on top, that's going to be our working leg or bent leg in the standing poses. Okay. So this is my left leg. I'm going to sit up tall. Modify as you need. If you need to sit in a chair and do this, you could do that. You could sit on a block. Take the other arm up. You can either hug your knee or take the twist. So here we are. The important things to remember are keeping your shoulders level. You're twisting just from above the waist. So so you just keep moving and breathe. You just stay in the pose and breathe. Our discs are like Oreo cookies. Our spine, it's like a bone and squishy and bone, squishy, bone, squishy. And so if we keep everything straight in line and don't crush one way or the other, it should be perfectly safe. So take one more breath here. Inhaling. And exhaling. And we'll gently release. So I'm going to alternate in these twists because the best, safely transition, the best way to build bone in these poses is to find the sweet spot. So not too short that we don't get the cellular movement going, and not too long that our muscles fatigue and we're not really working hard enough. So that's about 30 seconds. And then we'll turn around and go back to the other side. So here you go. You want to feel your top foot rooted into the ground. Later on, we're actually going to stand up on it. You want to be working at about, out of an efforting scale of 1 to 10, at about an 8. So you got to work pretty hard. One more deep breath. And gently release. So the next pose is a similar twist, but instead of having the leg curled under by your hip, you're going to have it crossed over and with the bottom leg stretched out. Okay, so if you have hip replacement issues, you could just keep it tucked in by the inner thigh. All right, so again, crossing over. Find your twist from above the waist. Let me show you how you can make this harder. You stay where you are. You could go to a wall, put your hands on the wall, and feel like you're pulling down on the wall. Sitting up tall. You'll feel this in the spine, in the hips. Maybe 2 more breaths. You got this. Nice and gently release. Woo, take a breath. So if I did that on one side, I should do it on the other side. Right? So the leg closest to the wall is bent or crossed over. All right. We'll go to that second side. And here we go. Nice deep breaths. Just keep breathing. You're about halfway there. 3 more deep breaths. Okay, good work. So come back to all fours, and we will stand ourselves up safely. One leg forward, back toes curl under, bring the back foot to meet the front. So I'm going to start with my left foot as the working leg to start with, and you can feel free to mirror me if you want, so do your right leg. So I'm going to start with a big wide straddle, and then find warrior 2, heel to arch alignment. All right. You could do this sitting in a chair. You could do this with your back up against the wall or holding on to a chair in front of you. And let's breathe. So remember, this is all about Wolf's Law. You want to kind of feel like flat Stanley, your knees, your pelvis, your shoulders, your arms, everything on one plane. That's how we're putting force on the bones in the direction that we want them to grow. One more breath. And from here, we're going to go straight into triangle on this side. So you're going to straighten that front leg. You basically want to get your whole spine to tilt diagonally. But to get our pelvis to go with it, like on a little teapot, I soften my knees a little bit. So back end of my pelvis coming up, but not going backwards, just coming up. Right? You rest your hand on your thigh, or your shin, or maybe you can go deeper. So it's not really a side bend. You want to keep both sides of your body long. And here we go. You could gaze down. You could gaze forward. You could gaze up. Three more breaths. Working those quads. Okay, then soften that front knee again. Bring your shoulders back over your hips, and we're going to do extended side angle. So I invite you to put your forearm gently on your thigh, not really any weight on it, and then sweep like you're sweeping off the dishes off a table, and bring that upper arm by your ear. Again, your focus could be over in your big toe or straight forward, or gazing up at your fingertips. Remember, you want to be efforting pretty hard, maybe even sweating a little bit. Make sure your feet are nice and rooted. one more deep breath here. Nice. And gently release. Bring your hands to your hips. You're going to heel toe your back foot in 3 or 4 times. And then turn your hips to the short edge of your mat and heel toe your front foot out to the side a little bit. So we've got space. Space down the middle here. I'm going to use my block in this pose. You could also go to a wall. Right? Inhale, get really, really tall. And exhale, gently fold forward over that front leg. The goal is to keep the front leg straight. Right? That's how we're going to get the traction in the pelvis. So imagine that you have a plate on your sacrum, on your back. Right? I'm going to turn forward so you can see. And from above the waist, you're going to twist. Now you can see that my shoulders are not completely vertical, perpendicular to the ground. If I were to take that top arm out in the air, it's not going to be pointing straight to the ceiling. But I'm keeping my arm on my back. Can you take 3 more deep breaths here? Good work. One more breath. Kind of the mother of all bone building poses. And soften that front knee. And safely bring your back foot to meet your front. And come to Tadasana, to standing. Probably feel like that left side worked pretty hard. Let's even it out. All right, those 4 poses on the other side. So find your straddle. Turn the other toes out. Find your heel to arch alignment. And here we go. You can go deeper if you want. So the question we might ask ourselves is, what else is going on, right? Besides our bones, we want to keep our balance, strength, and flexibility, and also make really informed decisions about how medications can help and hurt. So release that. Bring your hands to your hips, soften your knees a little bit. We're going into triangle. So take responsibility for your wellness. And do a little research. Collaborate with your caregivers. And for now, we'll stay in triangle. You got this. Suggestion is to do this protocol 4 or 5 times a week. Use that top arm to bring yourself back over your shoulders, over the hips. Bend that front knee. Find your warrior 2 with the legs. And then forearm on the thigh. Sweep the table for extended side angle. Deep breaths. Rib cage toward the thigh. Inhaling and exhaling. Might be shaking a little. Inhaling and exhaling. Safely bring yourself out of that. And heel toe your back leg in a little bit. All right. So hips turn toward the short edge of your mat. You're going to turn yourself. So you've got space down the middle, right? Show you again. Nice and tall and folding with a flat back. Remember, no rounding. We're hinging from the hips. Rotating from the waist, sacrum nice and flat. And if you want, you could bring that arm straight out to the side. So you're pulling the back hip, front hip back, and back hip forward. Corkscrewing that spine from above the waist, and the head is just an extension of the spine. Can you go a little more? Pull, let the muscles pull on the bones a little bit more. Inhale. And exhale. And then soften that front knee. Safely bring your back foot to meet your front. And find Tadasana. Nice. Inhale, take your arms up overhead. Bring them together, take a deep breath. So one more standing pose, tree pose. You could again go back against a wall or hold onto a chair. Think I'll stand on my left leg first. Right, so the tools you have, your breath and your gaze, nice steady gaze on something that's not moving. So the deal here is don't do kickstand. Get all your body weight on one leg, however you need, even if you have to put your foot in a chair or on a block. You can grow your tree if you want. So interesting statistic, you must be able to stand on one leg for 10 seconds. That's a marker of wellness, of longevity. Nice. So when we go to the second side, I'm going to turn sideways so I can show you something, or maybe a little bit of an angle. Let's see, this side. So I'm going to be standing on my right leg now. Take a breath. Find your balance. So what I want to show you is we don't want to be slumping forward because then our bones aren't in one long line. We don't want to be slumping sideways because then our bones aren't in one line. I want to stand up tall on that leg. Pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Couple more breaths. Remember, it's just a practice and you will get better at it. Nice, and exhaling, gently release. Okay, now we're going to do that locust pose. So finding your way to the mat safely, inhaling, take your arms up overhead. And exhaling, gently fold forward. You can use your block or chair. Take one leg way, way back in a high lunge. Float the knee down so this knee stays over the ankle. And find your belly. All right, safely. So just one back bend. You can have a few variations, right? You could keep your feet pushing into the mat and do a cobra pose. Or you can squeeze your legs together, raise your legs up, keep your shoulders up, not too much weight in the hands. You could reach your fingertips towards your ankles. You could reach your arms forward, more challenging. Cactus arms, anything you like with your arms. We're going to stay here for another 15 seconds or so. No pain anywhere. Big stretch and reach. And exhale. Make a pillow for your head with your hands. Let your legs drop and just rock your hips from side to side. And then when you're ready, put your hands under your shoulders. Lift your hips. Come back to that tabletop, maybe wag your tail. All right, so we have bridge pose and our leg stretch series to finish. So safely bring yourself down onto the mat. You might want to pad your head. Be nice on your neck, so have a strap handy or an old necktie. Bend your knees, plant your feet. Maybe you can touch your heels with your fingertips. Tuck your pinky toes in a little bit so you're not pigeon-toed. So you feel a little pigeon-toed. Take an exhale, settling, and then inhale. Glue your big toes to the mat as you raise your hips up. You could stay here, or you could interlace your hands underneath you. Think of your knees going out beyond your toes. The jaw is soft. The shoulders are rooted. You're bringing your sternum towards your chin. We're going to be here a little longer. You could even close your eyes. Feel all the good energy you're creating in your body. And exhaling, gently and slowly drop your hips. And take a moment again to settle. So this leg stretch series is about tractioning the bone into the hip socket than it is about stretching the back of the leg. So wrap that tie around one foot. The other leg could be bent, or you can straighten it out all the way, pressing that top of the thigh down. And then walk your hands up your strap so your arms are straight, and then start to push your foot into the strap and pull the strap down towards your shoulders. Several breaths here. You're getting a nice long line from the crown of the head all the way out through the heel, like you're standing on that leg. Effort, effort, effort. This is also one of the poses Dr. Fishman recommends for navigating back pain, because if you keep your limbs flexible, your spine has to do less twisting and turning in your daily life to accommodate. So you can take your strap in the one hand, same as the leg. You could take the arm out to the side, or challenge yourself, put it on top of that thigh, and then take the leg out to the side. You want to keep this whole side of the body rooted to the ground. So only go as far with the leg as you can without losing your alignment. And soften the jaw. Pull the hip, femur into the hip. Push the leg into the strap. Good work. Bring that leg back up. Release the strap. And because we can, stretch that leg out to meet the other. Just notice the difference. And when you're ready, leg stretch on the other side. Heel to the ceiling, stretch the opposite leg out if you like. Straighten your arms, root your shoulders, and work. So even these poses are going to give you more balance, strength, and flexibility, thus decreasing your fall risk and your risk of fracture. So the more active you stay, take that leg out to the side again, keeping the opposite side of the body aligned. The more active and strong you stay, the less likely you will have complications from your thinning bones. Add some strength training to the mix. Make sure you're getting appropriate levels of vitamin D and calcium. Inhale and bring that leg back up. Let go of your strap, get it out of the way. Stretch the leg out. And then practice the resting pose, Shavasana or corpse pose, for several breaths. Just allowing everything to settle back into place. Regenerating at literally the cellular level. Free to stay longer if you'd like. If you'd like to get moving again, bend your knees, shift your hips to one side, and come on up to seated. So remember, you can take control of your wellness. Keep doing the work. and you will see the benefits. So if this is the ending point for you, namaste. If you would like to stay and do a few more challenging poses to build balance, strength, and flexibility, we will do that now. Okay. So we're going to start in that twist again. And I'm going to invite you to be at the end of your mat so that you have about 2/3 of the mat in front of you. We're just going to move and have a little fun and challenge ourselves. Do remember though that the point is to stay safe and not to fall. So have any props that are helpful. So here we are in our getting ready for our twist, right? Take one arm up and over. Find your twist, take a couple of breaths. So this is one of my favorite moves. It takes core strength and a little bit of flexibility. Remember I said stand up and feel like you're standing on that front leg? Well, we're going to. So lean yourself forward over that ankle. You can use your fingertips in front of you or grab a block or grab hold of a chair, right? You're going to use your back foot, the top of your back foot as a lever. You're going to get onto that top leg. Come to standing. You might want to have your block because we're going to do Warrior 3. Dr. Fishman has a 3rd series, and I believe that this is one of the poses in it. So I'm going to start with my standing leg bent. And other than that, you pretty much want to look like a capital T. You could stay here, or you could challenge yourself by straightening that standing leg. Couple of breaths here. And then for a little flexibility, we'll try standing split. So stay on that leg, ballerina, point your toes in the air, and fold forward as much as you can. Remember, no pain in the low back. You still work on hinging from the hip. If you really want to challenge yourself, you could hold on to the ankle with one hand. Or maybe try both hands for a moment. Or not, just practice. Good. And gently release. So what I'm going to invite you to do is bring yourself to chair pose. Drop your hips, sweep your arms up. A couple of breaths here. Then come right to Tadasana and exhale your hands to your heart. Good hip strength building. Okay, you might want to have your strap handy. So we're going to find our way into a revolved triangle again. So that leg that was in the air, I'm now bringing into that revolved triangle pose. Right, so find a revolved triangle. You really want to feel this stretch in the IT band. Get that nice deep stretch. Again, working on our balance and our strength and our flexibility. So find a chair or a wall to hold on to if you like. We're going to come to chair pose again. I just walked myself forward along the mat. I'm going to move myself over so that I can use the wall. Now that leg that was just in front, I'm going to wrap the strap around it. All right? So however you can hold on. And then see if you can load all of your body weight into the opposite leg. We're basically going to do a revolved triangle on a different plane. Can you bring yourself to standing? Find this super challenging. I'm going to hold on to the wall. And find, like Supta Padangustasana. Yeah. Then if you can let go of the wall and switch your hold. This is the revolved part. Use your drishti. Use your steady gaze. Good work. And then just release. Nice work. So I find myself at the other end of the mat. I'm gonna come back down, right? And we're gonna do that twist on the other side. So I believe now that my right leg is gonna be the one forward. So starting with that twist, sit up really tall, just for a couple of breaths. Remember, the focus is on this foot, like you're gonna stand up, because you are. Love these poses because they really do balance, strength, and flexibility all at once, right? So we're gonna stand on that leg, use the back leg as a lever to come to warrior three. It's fun to notice the discrepancy between one side and the other also. So you can stay here with that standing leg bent, or you can work on straightening it. You can keep holding on to the block or a chair, or you can try and bring your hands to your heart. Remember, it's just a practice. I think I was dropping my hip of the leg in the air, and that was making it harder for me. Okay, and then find your standing split, ballerina point those toes in the air. Take that leg up as high as you can. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then find your chair pose. All right, sweep your arms up. Really working those quads and hips. Then come to Tadasana and exhale your hands to your heart. Got my strap where it needs to be, right? I'm gonna find revolved triangle, so kind of warrior one leg, some space down the middle. All right, I'm gonna get into that IT band a little bit with a stretch first. All right, so just twisting toward that front leg. Deep breaths, push into that big toe mound. Exhaling gently, come back to chair pose. So now we want to wrap that strap around the foot that was in front. All right, I'm going to go over to the wall. It seems to be my weaker side. So if you're having trouble standing up, once you load that body weight from really deep chair, you might have to rise up a little bit. All right, find your balance. And then do the revolved part. Nice. Beautiful. And gently release. And let that go for now. So come right back to Tadasana and take your arms up overhead. Bring your hands to your heart center. Maybe close your eyes and take a breath. Get an opportunity to feel all of that wonderful energy at the cellular level. Okay, we're going to find our way to a plank pose. So inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling, softening forward. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, maybe walk your hands out. Or walk your feet back, whatever you need. Find the top of a push-up plank. And then we're going to do side plank. So I'm going to put one hand under my nose. Come onto the knife edge of a foot. Right. Get nice and strong. All these muscles around the core. If you want to go deeper, you could find tree pose leg. Or you could grab hold of your big toe, take it up to the ceiling. Nice. So come on back to plank. I'm going to have my back to you this time, hand under the nose. Find the knife edge of your foot. Try and keep your body in one long line. You do you. Mostly I'm shaking. Nice, come on back to plank. And then find a downward facing dog. Might start to feel like rest. Nice. So one more plank, we're gonna drop to our elbows and come up a couple times. So I'm gonna drop to my right elbow, my left elbow. Push away with my right, and come back with my left. Drop with my left elbow, my right elbow. Push away with my left, come back to the right. One more time each side. Drop right and left. Push away, right and left. Drop left and right. Push away, left and right. And hold, hold, hold. And then float your knees down. And slowly and gently find a child's pose. Use a block to pad your head if you need. Nice. Okay. So come on back up. Work on flexibility one more time with Janu Shirsasana, and then an easy straddle stretch. So you could use your strap again here. Your hips are facing the extended leg, toes drawn back. Okay, you wrap that strap. Again, remember, hinging from the hips. And you kind of get your sitting bones freed up and fold toward that extended leg. If you can straighten your arm and find the outside of your foot, you could do that. Opposite hand resting outside the leg. So you could stay here, or you could gently round if it's safe for your spine, taking your nose toward the outside of your knee. Nice, inhale. Go ahead and raise yourself up. And we'll switch sides. Foot to the inner thigh. Sitting up tall. Hinge from the hips. Hold those low belly muscles in. And fold. Round if it feels safe. Use your exhales to let go. Safely bring your shoulders back over your hips. We're going to take a nice, easy straddle stretch. So if you're really tight, you could sit up on a block and walk your hips forward so you feel a nice stretch in the inner thighs. Sit up tall, and again, hinging from the hips. So if it's helpful, you have a block to rest your elbows on. Remember, you have 3 heights. You want to keep your toes pointing straight up, so not flopping in, not turning out too much. Imagine that energy going from your sitting bones all the way out through the crown of the head. Work is done. Relax your feet a little bit. Might feel good to rock from side to side a little. If you wanted to round over, you could. Find a place to rest your head. And then gently release. Bring your shoulders back over your hips. Go ahead and shake your legs in. And we're going to find our way back to Tadasana. If there's some other pose you would like to do, feel free. But I'm going to go ahead and settle in for 3 or 4 minutes at least. Keep your legs bent if it feels better on your low back. Tuck your shoulder blades together. Try and get all the props and everything out of the way so nothing's touching your body. Lengthen the back of your neck. Simply follow your inhales and your exhales until you can just be present in your body. If your mind wanders, just let the thought float by and bring it back to your breath. Nothing to do till you hear my voice again. So bring your attention back to your body. Maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes, and for a moment, before you get up, just appreciate the length, the space, the strength, and the flexibility you've created. Then make the motions a little bit bigger, maybe knees and elbows. Eventually working your way to one side and resting there, and pushing all the way up to seated. Wherever you are, giving yourself that mental pat on the back for showing up. Remember that yoga helps us to cure what cannot be endured and to endure what cannot be cured. So, all the best to you. Thanks for showing up and doing the work. The spirit in me honors the spirit in you. Namaste.